Hi, it's Anna. Welcome back to Books on the Go. A super quick video just checking in for Women in Translation Month. I'm about to head out. We've been in lockdown for a week, so it's actually quite exciting to be going out. So a quick Women in Translation Readathon update. So the Readathon is hosted by Matthew Sharappa and Kendra Winchester. And I think also insert literary pun here, Jennifer. So I will link their channels below and I'll tell you what the prompts are. I haven't had much success, but I have now ordered a few books last night because I got a bit excited trying to find books for these prompts. So the first prompt is not a novel. So a book by a woman in translation that's not a novel. And I have my eye on a book called Black Box by Shiori Hoy, translated by Allison Martin Powell, and that's published by Tilted Axis Press, which is one of my favourite publishers. That was founded, I think, by Deborah Smith, who translated The Vegetarian and has lots of books in languages that I haven't seen before or haven't read before. So I've enjoyed the books that I've read from Tilted Axis. So I think I might have even ordered Black Box online last night. And then Where the Wild Ladies Are by Matsuda Aoko, translated by Polly Barton. And I think that was also Tilted Axis. So they both sound amazing. I think they're both essays. I can't recall, but they are on my TBR. But let me know if you have any recommendations for anything that's not a novel by a woman in translation, because I really fell short on that one. I had nothing in my shelves. The second prompt is a language that is new to you. So for this one, I'm doubling up with the group readathon, which is Minor Detail by Adania Shibli, translated from the Arabic by Elisabeth, Jaquette. And I was trying to think if I had read a book in Arabic before, and I couldn't remember. So I've been scrolling through trying to jog my memory of books in Arabic translated into English, and sort of made me think I do need to read some, because don't seem to have read any. So it's a good prompt in that way. But I did try Celestial Bodies by Joka Al-Hati, which was translated by Marilyn Booth. And it won the International Booker Prize, I think, a couple of years ago. And I really wanted to read it and love it, and I didn't get on with it. So I should possibly go back to that one. Let me know if you've read that one. But that was my attempt at reading Arabic, so I'm hoping Minor Detail will fit that bill. And I've had my eye on it for a while because it was shortlisted for the International Booker and a lot of people were raving about it. So that is the other prompt, which is the group read along, is Minor Detail. So between those two, it will be either Black Box or Where the Wild Ladies Are and Minor Detail. Hopefully I'll at least read those in August. The only other woman in translation that I had on my TBR shelf was The Lying Life of Adults by Elena Ferrante, and I think that will be translated by Anne Goldstein. Yes, it is her translator that has done her other books. So this one I bought last year. I bought it as soon as it came out because I loved Elena Ferrante's My Brilliant Friend series, the Napoleon Quartet. And then I haven't read it yet. And I think I just have a hesitation about, I don't want to be disappointed, or I don't know why, but this is a good time to pick it up. So this is about a girl. 2 years before leaving home, my father said to my mother that I was very ugly. So I think she's about 13 and she's an adolescent, so it's a coming of age, and she's in Naples, a place of excess and vulgarity. And it sounds really interesting, and I'm looking forward to it, and I don't know why I've been hesitating, but there you go. I'll report back on The Lying Life of Adults. And a very, very quick recommendation if you're looking for books to read for Women in Translation Month: Trapped by Lilja Sigurðardóttir, translated by Quentin Bates, and this is part of a trilogy of crime novels. They're really fun. I think the first one is Snare, this one is Trap, and I'm yet to read the third one, which might be Cage, or it's a similar word. So translated from the, oh my gosh, is it Icelandic? I think I want to say Icelandic it's Reykjavik that they're set in, although they do travel. But I'm going blank now. Is Lilja Sigurðardóttir, which I'm probably mispronouncing, was also has partly I think a Mexican or a Spanish speaking background as well, and so her books have been compared to Mexican telenovelas as well as Scandi noir, and they're really good. So I recommend all of her books, but Trap is the most recent one that I've read. And then I really enjoyed this. I think I've talked about it before. Baba Dunja's Last Love by Alina Bronsky, and that is translated from the German by Tim Mohr. It's a short book, very clever, and based on the Chernobyl incident and people who were living in that area, and the idea of an old woman who decides to go back and stay living there because it's her home. And it's really, really good, memorable characters. Hurricane Season by Fernanda Melchor. This was outstanding. I think you would have heard of it because it was shortlisted for the International Booker, among other things. Translated from the Spanish by Sophie Hughes. Really, really vivid and visceral and strong, and just incredible writing and translation. It does, I think one reviewer said it makes other books look anemic by comparison, and I really found that it was one of those books that you read it's very powerful, and then it's hard to know what to follow up with once you've finished it. So I highly recommend it. I don't think it's for everyone, but a really impressive novel. A quick short book, Sulfuric Acid by Emily Northam, and in fact any of her work. I've only read a couple. I've still got more to read of Emily Northam's, but really clever French, dry, satirical books, and translated by Sean Whiteside, this one. So any Emily Northam I highly recommend. They're quite funny. This one's based on the idea of a reality TV show set in a concentration camp. So a very dark premise, and she is quite dark, but she makes you think, but does it with a light touch. So I love her work. And finally, Banana Yoshimoto Kitchen, and she writes in Japanese. It's translated by Megan Backus, and she has a really lovely conversational style, engaging, friendly tone, and it's sort of philosophical, but a great sort of well-paced story as well. And I did say finally, but I can't go without mentioning Untold Night and Day by Bae Suh, translated by Deborah Smith from the Korean, and a really dream, sort of surreal but also real story set in Seoul over the course of one evening, and a woman working in a theatre for the blind. And it really made me think. I think she does perform, as one reviewer said, the high wire act of verging between the real and the grounded and the story and the dreamlike characteristics. And Daisy Johnson said it was a Lynchian triumph, and it did give me David Lynch vibes. So if you enjoy that, this is really superb, and of course so cleanly translated. It's excellent. But I did get to the end and think, I'm not quite sure what happened, but not in a bad way. So a really, really thought-provoking book by Bae Suh, so Untold Night and Day. So there's some recommendations. Let me know what you're reading for Women in Translation Month, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.